Hi, I'm Mike Gardina with GardinaLifeCoaching.com. And does your wife or girlfriend think you're cheap? Or for the women, do you think your boyfriend or husband is cheap? Well, I'm going to defend, or at least try to explain that a little bit out there to everyone. All right, I'm going to start with a confession here. Over the years through my life, I've been known as being cheap from college up until today, for the most part. So if you feel that if you get called as being cheap, please leave a comment below and let me know how you feel about that. Because it can be a tough one. I don't know. I guess for me, I'm conservative by nature, so I don't like to waste resources. So, and I'm always looking kind of like the long-term effect of things. So when comes time to purchase something, I usually will think is, do I need this? Or is this just a want that I want? Or what does it mean if I buy it today versus I buy it in the future? Is it going to cost me more now than it will in the future? Will it cost more in the future? Just weighing all those things together will typically tell me to not spend the money most of the time, which then kind of equates to being cheap. Now, I'm just like everybody else. I like the idea well, I'll dream of buying something in the present, having this sports car and really being, having cool new clothes or something like that, just like everybody else. And I get attracted to the instant gratification as well. But I still will tend to look towards the long term. I'm trying to look for, I guess, value. What's the value I'm going to get by purchasing it? Now, people that do that buy things more frequently or spend more money, if you will, are ones that they're not tending to look so much out to the future. It's not that they don't care about the future, but it's like they're really roll the dice a little bit more than what I'm really comfortable doing, which is kind of that side effect of or being considered cheap, just not wanting to spend the money. So if I've gotten older and supposedly wiser, kind of like what have I learned about this subject here? And over the years, I think I've learned is life is balance. And if you go too far in one direction of being way too cheap is a problem. And then also going way the other side where you spend too much money and you go into debt, that's obviously a problem as well. It's trying to be somewhere in the middle. I probably still tend to be a little bit more towards the cheaper side, but I've learned that there is balance. I've learned that from others that have taught me that money there's a different meaning for money for me now. It also helps as you get older. You tend to make more income, so you have a little bit more disposable income, so you can tend to spend it a little bit more freely compared to when you're younger and you have so little amount. It's easier to be cheaper then because you just don't have as much. But as you grow in income, in theory, you should have more disposable, so it's a little bit easier, and that's a big piece of it. But I think it's also understanding your belief about money. I used to believe that well, I want to hold on to it because I'm going to need it in the future. Where today I kind of feel that life is an experience, and sometimes it's still better to just go ahead and spend it, but I also always feel after I would spend it is I have to go make it back up. I have to fill that void that was there. So that's something I still struggle with, and probably will for a long time. But I have gotten better. I'm not quite as cheap as I used to be. But it's a key. It's just trying to learn that balance of spending money in the appropriate locations for the value. And that's, I guess, as I try to look at it, is what's the value am I going to get by spending it? And sometimes there might not be much value. It's just an instant gratification, but there's still some value in that it does make me feel a little bit better on occasion because I don't do it very often. So it's something that you have to kind of work through. So for all the women out there who think that your husband is cheap, he may be, but there are reasons for it. I guess is the point of all this, is to explain my sentiments as to why I'm considered that way, and my thoughts through it. And I suspect that most men are similar to that nature. Is there are reasons why. It's not that we just want to keep every nickel that we have, although there are some people that feel that way, that they want to keep every little thing. But I think the vast majority of people are just really more looking toward the future and are just conservative in nature and want to have options. Because when you don't have money, and that doesn't give you any options. If you're in debt, you have no options. So it's just the idea of some freedom by having extra cash on hand. But we have to realize that life is a balance, and we need to spend money, but spend it wisely.